And this is a very vital topic that I know everybody here is excited to learn more about. There has been a question whether these slides will be available, and yes, this webinar is being recorded. So once it is finished recording, I will send it to the US and they'll upload it onto our website. Typically that's done by Friday. So by Friday you will be able to see this presentation over again and listen to it live as well. So I saw that question pop up, so I wanted to address that with everyone. So before we get started, I want to briefly introduce Matthew Murchie, and Matthew is basically the owner and founder of Diesel Media, and Diesel Media works with direct sellers all across Canada, and their goal is to help direct salespeople grow their businesses with social media, understand it, make it your friend, so you can actually enjoy doing it and learn a lot and grow your business. Matthew is part of the Direct Selling Association. He's an associate member. Actually runs the DSA social media program for the last year and this year, and he's extremely knowledgeable about social media, but very knowledgeable also coming from the direct sales industry. So really knowing how to use social media to really build your business through this avenue. So without further delay, I will turn it over to Matthew at the very end. If we do have time, we'll open it up to Q&A, and as you'll see on the side panel, you can type in a question, and then I will ask Matthew and he will answer it at the end. But for right now, I will turn it over to Matthew. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Rajat. I hope I can answer everyone's questions and kind of knock a few things out of the park for you. So yeah, I've been around social media for quite some time and been affiliated with the DSA for, I think going on 8 or 9 years now. So let's get started with the presentation here. Let me just click onto it. So 11-year veteran of the internet marketing world. I am SEO Pro certified, which is just a very fancy word of saying I know what I'm talking about, and I've had somebody verify that. I am, as Roger said, a DSA supplier member, and I am the Director of Possibilities at Diesel Media Marketing. Diesel stands for Direct Selling Online Media, by the way, for anybody that was just dying to know that, which I'm sure none of you were. But we also run a social media training for directselling.com site, and I am the trainer, speaker, and director of success for that. So without further ado, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the entire presentation. So what we're going to cover today, and this is just a very brief overview, is personal websites. And aside from personal websites, also having a blogging site, which some of you may or may not have. It's not an integral part of what we're going to be talking about, but it definitely helps. So we're going to touch upon that for a little bit. We're going to then look at Facebook mindset and mistakes. These are the kind of things I've seen done not to the best of their abilities. Some of the mistakes a lot of sales consultants make on social media. So we're going to just kind of look at some of those, what we can do to rectify that, and of course scheduling. Scheduling is basically repetition. Everyone does well with repetition. We enjoy repetition because as we do things more often, the easier they become, the quicker they become. So there's just a little quick couple of ideas that I had about scheduling. And of course the 10 by 10 content creation. I know Rancha is probably quite familiar with this one, as I've said it quite often. It works incredibly well. And so I of course wanted to add it to this presentation. So let's move forward. Personal websites, what I call the untapped potential. Back in the day, we're going back maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, we used to have this big yellow book called the Yellow Pages. And the Yellow Pages was where everybody advertised their business for two reasons. One, it was a way to get leads. Two, it was what legitimized their business. Because if Bob the Plumber was not in the Yellow Pages, did Bob the Plumber actually have a real business? And that's what people use as validation back in the day. Now it's no longer the Yellow Pages, it's now websites. So if you have a Nature Sunshine product and you're selling Nature Sunshine, but you don't have a Nature Sunshine website, again, do you actually really have a business? And so that's why I always push every sales consultant, business associate that I've met, the first question I always ask is, do you have a website? It's incredibly important. And of course, if you have, as I mentioned earlier, a blogging site such as WordPress, whether it be the .org or .com site, I really don't want to get into the differences of the two, but if you have one of the two, that will definitely help your business, as you can, of course, blog and put posts up there as much as you want, and you can fairly well promote yourself to the best of your abilities on WordPress. So Facebook mindset and mistakes. These are the things that I've seen done not as well as they could have. So again, as Roger said, we do manage the DSA Canada website. We do a lot of the posts on their behalf. And one of the things that I see people not do enough of is put pictures on there. Pictures do incredibly well, and I actually have some pretty interesting statistics on this. But I see too often a Facebook feed with just nothing but text. And of course, everyone kind of goes back to writing text, because it's just that much easier just to write something rather than having to look for a picture somewhere on the web, finding if it's royalty free, and then seeing if it has any relation to what we're actually talking about, and yada yada yada. So people just rather write something instead of taking the extra couple of minutes to put a picture on there. So pictures do incredibly well. Within 19 hours, we had this post that we did for International Women's Day. We had over 1,700 reach with under 20 hours, as well as it was liked 16 times and it was shared 14 times, and I can't remember how many comments we had, but it went quite well. My whole thing about pictures is one picture say 1,000 words. This one picture here shows a businesswoman doing quite well. She has a beautiful view of the outside, and so it really touched our demographic that we were after. Two, it takes more of the feed. When somebody's scrolling through their feed in Facebook, this will take a bigger portion of it, and so they tend to, look at it a little bit longer than if it was just a text update, because that takes much shorter of the actual height of the feed, of the Facebook feed. Next mistake I always see is, of course, one-way conversations. And this is probably due to, this is what we're used to. It's TV, it's radio, it's newspapers and magazines, talking at people rather than talking to people. And if you look at the TV and radio and publications, it's everyone saying, this is what we do, buy our stuff, that's it. They actually take that to social media as well, but social media needs to be social. It's a two-way communication field. And this is what I love about this industry. And as I said yesterday as I was presenting, direct selling is all about, communication and engagement. In the direct selling world, we do this better than anybody else. And that is engaging with people and really trying to get them to talk to us about, what do they think about the product? Do they like it? Has it helped them? Would they like to buy more? So on and so forth. We create engagement, but somehow there's a disconnect when people go online and go onto social media such as Facebook or Twitter or what have you, because it's just almost a presentation style message. Everyone's just talking at a person rather than to people. So my suggestion, always try to engage with people online. Another thing I always see done, not to the best of their ability, is people always talking about themselves. Again, it's easy. Easy is not always the best thing to do. And a lot of people that I see on Facebook will start talking about themselves, what they did, how they did it, this new product that they came out, or that their company came out with that they believe is going to do really well, what their plans are for the weekend, so on and so forth. It's all about them. People don't really care to hear what's going on about you all the time. What I try to get a lot of consultants to think about is going to a party. And of course, we're used to doing parties and engaging with a lot of different people. When you go to a birthday party or a Christmas party or some celebration where there's a group of people, typically what people will do is, or what you should do, is go around and start engaging with people, introducing yourself, and just talking about general things. That's how we get people engaged and interested. Again, we somehow stopped doing that on social media because we only start talking about ourselves. We need to start talking about a few other things that are relational to our industry. So I think this is going to be coming on a little bit later in the presentation, but I'll show you how to actually come up with really good ideas that touch upon the industry very quickly. You could actually come up with hundreds of different topics, literally within 5 minutes that you can talk about. But my suggestion is 90% of the conversation should be about everything else going on in your industry. It's health, it's fitness, it's being active. That's the kind of stuff you need to be talking about, and not specifically about a particular product or what's next. If you do that well, 10% of the time can be about recruiting or a product push or what have you. People won't mind at that point. Again, this is my biggest pet peeve. On personal websites, you cannot absolutely, emphatically not promote your business on your personal profile. Right here, it's right in the privacy and terms of service within Facebook. Timelines are for individual, non-commercial use. You can say, I have a business page. You should come here for great tips and ideas. That is okay, but to say, buy my stuff, come to a party, do a herbal hour, become a business associate with me, that's a little touchy with Facebook, and they can and will shut down a personal site if they see this happening. So those are kind of some of the mistakes that I've seen happen, and my suggestions for overcoming those mistakes. I hope some of you maybe got a little bit of a tidbit of information on this, but here's some statistics that should help out and should convince you to spend a little bit extra and really make those posts valuable. Photo posts get 39% more interaction than links, videos, or text-based updates. Photos get 53% more likes, 104% more comments, and 84% more clicks. On average, albums get 180% more engagement, and photo posts get 120% more engagement than the average post. So for albums, quite easy. Take your iPhone, Android phone, whatever smartphone you have, start taking pictures of people consuming the product or asking questions or somehow engaging with you and within an herbal hour or what have you, and put that on Facebook as an album. You'll get a lot more engagement out of that. Shorter posts get 23% more interaction. So if you do a post that's under 250 characters, that's including spaces, you'll get 60% more engagement. If it's under 80 characters, you'll get 66% more engagement. And that's simply because not everybody wants to read a 500-page or 500-character post on Facebook. They want to kind of skim through things and just pick up on the odds and ends. So try to keep your posts shorter. Using emoticons. Now, emoticon is simply a text-based way of showing an emotion. So a colon dash bracket would be either a happy face or a sad face. That's an emoticon. So if you use those emoticons, it'll increase comments by 33%. It'll get shared 33% more often, and it'll get liked 57% more often. So make sure when you're doing posts, use emoticons to really kind of relate to what you're trying to say. Engagement rates on Thursday and Friday are 18% higher. Why is that? Quite easy. The less people want to be at work, the more they're going to be on Facebook. So make sure a lot of your more important posts probably happen on Thursday and Friday, because chances are that's when people are going to engage with it a lot more often. Question posts get 100% more comments, but get less likes and shares. Now, if you start your questions with a should, would, which, and who, it'll get more comments than those that include when, what, where, why, and how. Now, again, a lot of these stats, they're used very generally. They're not. It may work for some people, it may not work for others, but try them out, see how they work for you. 35% of Facebook fans like a page so that they can participate in a contest. So the easiest contests to run are caption this photo. So take a picture of somebody smiling, holding your product, and just say caption this photo, and you'll get a lot more comments on that photo. And you can give out a Tim Hortons card or something small, what have you, but it really does well and gets the engagement rates up. And if you use event, winner, and offer rather than contest, promotion, or sweepstakes as a soft to sell keyword, it will do best. So those are some of the stats that I've found worked. I've tested some of these. They do work quite well in some markets. Other markets I haven't had such a great impact on. but it did better than the average post. So they do work, and I do highly suggest that you guys do try that. Moving on to a different sort of a topic, I want to kind of touch briefly upon groups versus pages, because I've been asked this several times. Do I suggest using groups? Yes, I do. Absolutely. Groups are a great way to kind of get people talking, asking questions, and if used in a very particular way, it can really encourage people to come back and buy more from you, or to actually become a business associate. It's just a really interesting kind of way to get people to start asking questions that they typically wouldn't ask on a Facebook page, because they're kind of a little concerned about who else is seeing it. But here are the two ideas that I've had for this particular group: is having a customer exclusivity group or a Herbal Hour exclusivity group. So for people that are on Facebook that have liked your page that are customers, create a group that is specifically just for them, and call it something fancy, or just call it the customer exclusivity group. And that's really where you're going to share some of the tidbits and golden nuggets that you typically wouldn't share with the average customer that's on your business page. I'm not too sure what that nugget would be, but if there's something that you know that works really well, if they take perhaps a product in a particular way or a particular fashion, they can get a much greater impact on it. That's the kind of stuff you really only want to be telling a certain group, and that would be your customer group. What you're trying to do here is you're trying to get people who are not your customers to become your customers, to be included in that group. And same with the Herbal Hours. People who are participating in the Herbal Hour, include them in this exclusivity group, because that will cause other people who are not in that exclusivity group to become an exclusivity member. Everyone likes to feel special. This is one way to get them to feel special. And you can promote that on your Facebook page. Hey, thanks to Rancha for asking this great question in our customer exclusivity group. Hope it really answered your question. She'll probably respond saying, thank you very much. So glad I'm in your, I'm so happy that I'm part of this exclusive group. Other people will then come back and say, how do I become a part of that? Well, you have to become a customer. That's a great way to actually get them to sell, or to buy, sorry. Next, a little bit of a corny joke, but it's worth being said. One of the mistakes I've seen done is, if you don't know what this is a boring machine. It bores through different caves and mine shafts and so on and so forth. Don't be boring on Facebook. Too many people just say, or not necessarily just Facebook, but Twitter and all the other social media sites, but specifically on Facebook, I noticed that some people just feel like they have to say something, and so they quickly will just ramble off anything on Facebook, and it's the most pointless post. Don't do that. If you have nothing valuable to give, don't. Facebook is not about quantity. It's about quality. And that goes for anything to do with social media. Not specifically just Facebook, but I will focus on it because I see it done more often there than not. If you have nothing to say, don't. Hold off until you have something really valuable to say. If anything, have something in a repository that you can just pull from the post. If you have nothing to say for a specific day, go to Stock Exchange, which is www.sxc.hu. There's some really great photos that you can use on Facebook. They have changed recently where some of them are royalty-free, some of them you have to be paid, but they actually, within their filter, you can filter out all the paid ones and just use royalty-free ones. And so you can, go there, find a photo that you find interesting, and post it on your Facebook feed. Same with icon finder. If you're looking for a specific icon, such as Twitter, LinkedIn, Google, or what have you, or just an emoticon to use, icon finder is a great way or a great place to go find those icons. Inspirational quotes and motivational quotes. People love quotes. People love to get inspired. People love when people have a quote that really kind of relates to them. These are two areas that we find have really great information. So have an entire collection, maybe 30 or 40 or 50 posts that you really like, that you can just one day grab and post right on there. Preferably, you would go to a site such as Canva, or if you have a PageModo account, go to those and actually pick a photo that relates to the quote and put that quote over the photo to kind of give it that extra boost. Again, photos always will do better. So just merge the two together, the quote and the picture. And of course, Google is your friend. And I believe it was you, Ronta, that said yesterday about the images, go to Google Images and just find photos that work there. You can do that too. Yeah, so let's move on. Hashtagify me. This is the one that I told you earlier on that it's a great little site to find ideas. So when you're kind of running out of ideas, you don't really know what to post that's kind of relational to your industry, so on and so forth, go to hashtagify.me. It's a great little tool, and I use this all the time. And we're actually going to do this live. Let me just, oops, went too far there. Let me just scroll over to the next screen here. Here's Hashtagify me. And all it is a bunch of bubbles with a central topic. So we're going to type in here, nature's sunshine. Click find, and we're going to see what type of topics pop up. Well, if we look at nature's sunshine, here it is. We can talk about fat loss. We can talk about cleanse or cleanse, MLM, forever living, business, Ethereum. You know, we can, if you want, you can click on fat loss, and we can dive a little bit more into it. And we can start talking about health and weight loss and nutrition and diets. Maybe you want to work on your abs. Maybe you just want to get fit. You can really kind of get some really different ideas on topics that kind of are relational to your industry but still matter to people. What this really is just hashtagging. If people are familiar with Twitter, you can see here that a lot of people are kind of hashtagging certain things. LeBron James, talks about getting fit and fat loss. So they're actually pulling a lot of this stuff and creating like tags or like hashtags that are relational to the central topic, and what is typically popular amongst a lot of Twitter users. Yes, this is specifically about Twitter, but it can be used to generate ideas that are relational to a specific topic that you can use within your industry. So just thought I'd show you that little tidbit of information on Hashtagify me. If you ever get stuck on a topic, go here. You will definitely find 1,000 different topics under 5 minutes. So let's just hop back there to our presentation. So yeah, hashtagify.me and type in nature sunshine or type in health, type in fitness, type in whatever it is you want to talk about and expand on that idea. So let's talk a little bit more about building Facebook following, because I'm pretty sure that's what a lot of people came on to this call to talk more about. There's two things that we're going to talk about, a basic approach and an advanced approach. It's funny that I see a lot of people don't really doing a lot of these basic things that can help your Facebook following quite a bit. For Herbal Hours, start promoting your Facebook page on Herbal Hours, saying, hey, you know what, I got this tip and I got a lot more on my Facebook page. You should visit me here. Tell your family, tell your friends. Every time that they post something and say, hey, John, that was a really great idea, well, now their friends are going to see it too. Of course, on your business cards, letterhead, decals, what have you, start saying, hey, we also have a Facebook page here. Other social networks. If you are on YouTube and Twitter and Instagram and Pinterest, start promoting your Facebook page on those networks too. And of course, needless to say, if you have a MyNSP page, if you have a WordPress blog, start promoting it there too. Don't just leave Facebook to kind of hopefully gain followers just because you're not promoting it and they're hopefully going to do it for you. It's not going to happen. But of course, as with anything else, this is not a set and forget approach. It must be managed. You constantly have to start promoting yourself for people to find you. The advanced way. This is the way that my team actually goes about promoting both Twitter and Facebook. Now, when it comes to social media, we always start with Twitter and Facebook. Then we start branching out slowly into the other networks. We found that we get our best bang for a buck promoting with Twitter and Facebook, and I'm going to show you the exact process that we use to do that. First place that we'll start with is Clout and Cred. Clout and Cred are two sites that you can use. Doesn't matter which one. Just make sure that if you pick one that you kind of stick with it. But Clout and Cred really are gamifying social media. And what that means is that they're trying to create a game out of social media. The more you use social media, the more awards you're going to get, the more credits you're going to get. So everything's based on a number. We use specifically Clout, so a lot of what I'm going to show you in the next slides here are going to be Clout specific, but again, Cred's no different. They just have their numbers a little differently. So the approach that we're going to take is it's not about the score that you have, it's about everybody else's score. Again, Clout, for example, they'll give you a rating between 0 and 100. The higher the score, the more influential that person is in your industry. So a person that has a 90 will be much more influential than somebody who has a 30 or a 40. Now, it does take into account all the other social media activity going on. So this number is some type of algorithm that they've come up with that takes into account their LinkedIn presence, their Twitter presence, and their Facebook presence, and I think a few other ones. But for those are the three main big ones that they take into account. Finding people who are already talking about your prospective customers and have already established their trust are your influencers, and these are your gold mines. So these people that have 80 and 90 as their Clout score and are already talking to the people you want to be talking to are your gold mines, and these are the people that we want to start impressing. Because if we start impressing them and they start retweeting a lot of the stuff that we say, all of a sudden, instead of tweeting to our maybe 100 or 1,000 followers, they have 100,000 followers. Our message just got duplicated 100 times. It's an incredibly powerful process. So to do this, we have to assume a couple of things. Of course, having a Facebook account and having a Twitter account. If you don't have a Twitter account, don't worry. Start one up, and you can start doing this process. It's quite easy. Decent list of keywords about your industry. Now, it doesn't have to be product specific, but it does have to be relational to your industry, health, fitness, so on and so forth. And of course, you'll want to follow the 90-10 rule. This is, again, the premise of 90% of the time you're talking about everything else happening within your industry, so that 10% of the time you can actually do kind of a hard sell. So the first thing, go to clout.com and type in, I picked a word cooking. I've used this example a couple of times, so it works well. So we're going to type in cooking, and we're going to come up with a couple of different people. So you can see here, Jamie Oliver, Food Network, Paula Deen, so on and so forth. And on the bottom left, they have a number. We can see that Martha Stewart has an 87, whereas Paula Deen only has an 83. Now, while that's not that big of a difference, but we can then basically assume that Martha Stewart has a much bigger presence than Paula Deen does, at least when it comes to social media. So we're going to start wanting to like a few of these people. So we're just going to, again, enter in your keyword, search for these powerful people that are in your industry. As soon as you find these people, befriend them on Twitter. So start following them. As they start tweeting out, you're going to want to start reading and following what they're saying. Every once in a while, they're going to want to push a product or push an idea or say something that they want to be echoed out throughout the Twitter sphere. You're going to help them with that. The whole premise of Twitter is reciprocity. So do something for somebody else, and then they may reciprocate that back to you. Now, of course, with these really influential people, it may take time. You may have to retweet a lot of their stuff maybe 20, 30, 50 times before they'll retweet one thing. But keep in mind, their following is that much bigger than yours. So you do have to put the time in to build a solid relationship with somebody. So we're going to, again, just reiterate, retweet stuff that they say, but be picky about it. Don't just retweet everything. Be picky about what they're saying, and if you really think it's going to help your people out, retweet it. Track who thanks you. So a lot of the times what will happen is somebody will, you'll retweet somebody or something that somebody says, and they'll send a message right back to you saying, hey, thanks for retweeting my stuff, really helps me out. You're going to want to thank them. I'm a big fan of automation. I love automation. It helps me out dramatically. My team uses Social Bro. And Social Bro is a great site that you can pull a lot of information out. They base a lot of their stuff on Cred as opposed to Clout. So you can actually do a lot of this research on Social Bro as well. but Social Bro will actually automate a lot of the direct messages for you. So if somebody retweets some of your stuff, Social Bro will automatically send out a direct message to them saying, thanks so much for retweeting my message. Just out of curiosity, what did you like about it? And chances are they're going to direct message you back saying, hey, this is what I really liked. It's just a really cool way of promoting yourself on Twitter and getting a lot of people to kind of talk to you. And that's the whole basis, again, with Twitter is communication back and forth. So if you want, check out Social Bro. It's a great little tool that we use. We have no affiliation with them. We just use their stuff. And of course, if you find that there's a post that you're getting a lot of traction on, a lot of people are tweeting about it, go to backtweets.com and find out who those people are. Go to their site. If you haven't followed them, start following them and start thanking them. Say, hey, thanks so much for tweeting that post out that I did on my blog. Again, just out of curiosity, what did you like about it? And you can say, hey, do you mind if I tell you the next time I have a blog post, because hopefully you'll retweet that. You can do that too. It works quite well. We do that with the DSA page, and we actually get people tweeting it out for us when we ask them to. And of course, rinse and repeat. This process is not a super button. It's not one of those buttons you can press and all of a sudden, poof, everything works the way it wants to. You're going to have to do this a few times. It may take you weeks. It may take you a couple of months to start getting traction, but you got to start somewhere, and you got to work at it. A couple of other ways that we can start generating content that is on topic and on target with the date that you're sending it out on is, of course, using Google. Again, we're going to take that keyword, the same one that we typed into Clout or Cred, and we're going to put it into Google. But this time, we're going to click on news instead of just web, because news, we want to find out relevant information that's happening within the last couple of days. Now, as you can see here, this one we did a couple of years ago, but or this screenshot we took a couple of years ago, but either way, it still works. Type in cooking, click on news, and you'll start seeing some of the things that are happening as of that date. Start tweeting those out. Again, you're trying to fill up that 90% rule. We're going to do this one more time, but this time we're going to click on blogs. So if you go under more and then blogs, we're going to find out what other people are saying about your industry. And we're going to retweet their stuff. We're going to add them to our Facebook feed. We're going to, if they have a really interesting picture and you're on Pinterest, pin their stuff. Even let them know if they have a Twitter account and they're saying, hey, follow me at this Twitter handle. Follow them. Say, hey, you know what? Found your article really interesting. We just tweeted this out. Chances are they're going to thank you and start following you. Again, this is how we build a following. And just a couple of tips here. Talkwalker alerts for people who want to do this consistently, and again, automation is key to any business. Talkwalker alerts will actually do both news and blogs for you and send you an email every morning with yesterday's hot topics that were the top 10 in Google. So talkwalkeralerts.com is a great way to automate basically what I just said in the last two slides. For people who do have WordPress, we use a special little button called Press This. Now, this is built into WordPress. This is a bit of a more advanced tip, so this may not apply to everybody, but if you do run WordPress, look for the Press This button. It's under the Settings tab. Put it to your bookmark toolbar, because what's going to happen is as you're going through the web and as you're looking up certain things, you're going to come across a couple of articles that you find interesting, and perhaps you actually have a commentary about it. Maybe you have a spin on something. If you press this button, what it will do is take a synopsis of the actual page, a link of it, and you can create your own little commentary on it and click Save. It will save it to your WordPress as a new post. And then, of course, you promote that. So you can let that person know on findcooking.com, say, hey, love this recipe or cooking item you did here. Thought it was great. I put my own little spin on it a little while ago, and thought you might be interested in it, because they may very well tweet out your post. Stick to a schedule. Again, we work well with schedules, and doing things in routine, they become quicker. Create a post or a consistent posting schedule. Here are a couple examples I came up with earlier on. You don't have to stick to this specific schedule, but create your own. Monday Mind Benders, Tip Tuesdays or Tutorial Tuesdays, Way Back Wednesday, Thank You Thursdays, and Funny Fridays. So every Monday you come up with a mind bender. There are thousands of sites out there that you can actually go to and copy the mind bender, post it on your Facebook feed, or send it off to Twitter and say, hey, here's my Monday mind bender question for you. Tutorial Tuesdays or Tip Tuesdays, give out tutorials, give out tips about certain products or certain things that you're doing. Way Back Wednesdays, go back a couple of days, months, years even, and just say, hey, remember when? Thursdays and Fridays tend, again, to be the best because of that 18% rule. The less people want to be at work, the more they're going to be on Facebook. So Thank You Thursdays and Funny Fridays I've saved for the very end. Everybody likes to get appreciated. Everybody likes to get called out and say, hey, you know what, Rancha, thank you so much for inviting me to do this webinar. I had a great time. You rock. And I'm sure Rancha is going to say, wow, that was really nice of him to do that. People like to be appreciated. Funny Fridays, of course, everybody loves Friday. It's the day before the weekend, so everyone's in a better mood, everyone's happier, and of course, if you can make that day that much happier for them by telling them a joke, more power to you. Again, use Google to find funny jokes. Make sure they're clean. Don't get too carried away because you don't want to be upsetting anybody, so come up with some really great jokes. And again, Google is your friend. Now we're going to get, again, a little bit more into Facebook ads and a little bit more advanced stuff. Now, yes, this is paid advertising. So this is going to require you to, put a couple of bucks into Facebook to start getting a following. We've had tremendous success with Facebook and Facebook ads, both on promoting a specific business page as well as promoting a website. All right. With Facebook, you can get incredibly specific who you target. Here's a quick little snapshot that I did a few days ago, and I was just curious if I took Burlington as the city where we are, the age, we just left it at anyone, and we went into the fitness and wellness market. How many people could I touch? And right here it shows 25,000 to 30,000 monthly active people just in Burlington alone. Now we can narrow that down even further, so we're not spending money on that, and only spending money on the people that we actually want to touch. We can get down to saying, okay, they have to have a household income of this, they have to have a high school or college or university education, and I've even heard people that say they also have to have a dog. You can get that specific with Facebook. So again, Facebook is a great way to start advertising. A couple of advanced tips that we kind of do now as the standard is we don't even worry about the sidebar. When you're on Facebook, you'll see off to the right-hand side there's a couple of ads there. Don't bother advertising there. It doesn't do well. Only do in-feed ads. So those are the ones that you see as you're scrolling through your feed. You'll see the odd ad pop up. Those work really, really well, and especially on mobile devices. We actually don't even advertise anymore on desktop PCs or Macs. We only do in-feed and we only do mobile, and it works incredibly well. And you can get anywhere between 20 and 50 cents per click. One of the things that you do want to keep in mind, though, if you are advertising a business page within Facebook, it will cost you less. Facebook's mentality behind that is if you're going to keep people on our site, we're not going to charge you as much. However, if you're promoting your website that lies outside of Facebook, we're going to charge you more for that because now you're taking them away from us. So it will cost you more. And so you may be looking at 50 cents to $1 per click. for clicking on that ad if you're sending them to your site. It's still quite a bit cheaper than Google or any of the other paid advertising. So definitely take a look at Facebook. It really is a great way to advertise what you do. Let's get into the exciting part here. The 10 by 10 formula, I love it. I practice it, I preach it all the time, but I did not come up with it. It was by a gentleman named Mike Koenigs, a brilliant marketer. I follow him. I met him a couple of times, a brilliant man. I've spun this a little differently from what he promotes because, of course, I'm affiliated with the direct selling industry. I want to kind of see how we could take this formula and kind of tweak it a little bit to see how it could help a lot of the direct selling companies out there. So this is the direct selling version of it. The 10 by 10 formula, the first set of 10 questions, so the first 10 are the 10 questions that you as a business associate always get asked by your customers. You should be able to whip this off in a couple of minutes. These are the top 10 questions that you continuously get asked about a particular product, or maybe, how did you become a Nature Sunshine business associate? Why did you become a Nature Sunshine business associate? So on and so forth. I'll go a little bit more into that in the next couple of slides, but that is the whole idea of the first 10 of that formula. The second 10 in that formula are the 10 questions that the customer actually needs to know, but they're not asking you. So these are the types of questions that people don't know what they don't know, and so you're going to help them with that. So let's dive into this. Again, first set of 10 questions are about hosting herbal hours. Maybe it's about how to become a business associate. Why did you become a business associate? So on and so forth. Figure out a ton of these questions. Again, it should really only take you about 10-15 minutes to come up with that. After that, provide the answers to each of those questions. So now after you've done this, you should have a set of 10 questions and 10 answers. As soon as you've done that, you're going to move on to the next 10. The second 10 questions that you provide are what customers really should be asking you instead. Now, these are the questions that your customers don't know to ask, but if they did, it would help them immensely. This is all about educating the customer now. So I gave a quick example. It may not be the best example, but a customer buys Nutriburn, but they haven't considered the best time to take it. Is it in the morning? Is it at night? Is it during meals? Is it not? Am I allowed to take anything an hour after taking Nutriburn? I don't know. I'm not a business associate, but these are the kind of questions that I would come up with. So these are the kind of questions that you need to come up with first and say, hey, by the way, you're going to want to take this during meals or something like that. So these are the very powerful questions. These really establish you as credible and as an expert, because as soon as you get the aha or the oh really, I didn't know that, that's the kind of reaction you're looking for with these 10 questions. As soon as you get the oh, I didn't realize that, you all of a sudden break down all the barriers that the customer's trying to put up, and they're a lot more receptive to what you're trying to tell them. So again, come up with the answers for those last set of 10 questions. Altogether now, once the entire process is done, you should have a set of 20 questions and 20 answers. And so once a day, once every other day, once a week, whatever you feel the frequency is right for your fans, for your Twitter followers, start promoting that on your social media networks. If you want, you can create a certain day. This could be part of your Monday mind benders or your tutorial or Tuesday tips. Again, you're going to ask the question and answer it, but always make sure you're trying to engage the person by asking, hey, did this help you by any means? Like, do you want me to expand on it? You want comments back. You want them to like it and say, hey, you know what? Great tip, loved it. At the end of all 20 questions, so this is maybe 20 days later if you've done it every day. So on the 21st day, you're going to do a recap saying, hey, I hope these 20 questions really helped out. Does anybody have any other further questions that I haven't answered? Chances are there's going to be one or two. and then maybe the 22nd post that you put up there is a recap of everything based upon your analytics. Again, data means everything. Data will tell you where to focus your attention on. Within Facebook Insights, you can tell which posts have done better than others. So if you know that your 11th post got the most engagement because it had the most comments, likes, and shares, well, you may want to create a 11 part B to that. So you're expanding on that mentality. It works really well, and of course you can go to 11 part C and 11 part D if you really feel like you really need to expand on that idea that much more. But again, you're creating content that people are really needing to know. Here's a pro tip for you that actually, again, I didn't think about this, but one of my guys did, and I thought it worked really well, or would work really well, which is if you do have a WordPress site and you have a post on that blog, each question should be a different blog post. And you can ask the question as the title, and your answer is going to be the actual post. And you can go up to 300, 500 words to entertain that question. You're going to then promote that on Facebook. On Facebook, you can, as a Facebook post, ask the question and maybe only give the first sentence of it. And then you can say, click here to read more of my answer, which again is pointing back to your WordPress blog. You can do this again with Twitter. Twitter, you could just rhyme out the question and just say, add a link to where they can find the answer. This is again promoting your website. I think would work really well. We're going to be testing this. We're going to be testing this this theory in the next little while. But I was actually just told about this a couple of days ago, so I think it would work quite well. I highly advise you to try it out if you can. As for that, secret weapon. Again, automation is my friend, and I love this site. I'm on here probably 10, 15, 20 times a day just thinking about different things I can do. IFTTT.com. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of it, but the whole premise is if this, then that. So if this happens, then that should happen. You could really come up with some creative recipes. Now, this is all based upon recipes. They basically call a recipe as part of creating an entire product at the end, but a recipe could be if I make a post on WordPress, then automatically send off a Twitter or something off to Twitter saying, hey, I just updated my blog post, come and see it. And it's all automated. You can get pretty crazy. There's some really neat recipes out there that have nothing to do with social media. Some of them are, something like if you have a Nest thermostat and the temperature is supposed to drop below 20 degrees, then the Nest thermostat should go up 5 degrees in your house. Or you can do stuff with your phone. If I'm at a herbal hour, all of a sudden send off a post to my WordPress site saying, hey, I'm at a herbal hour having a great time. Here's a picture of it, and uploads it right away. You can really do some nifty things with it. They're all based upon, again, recipes is what they call it. But how we're going to use it here, how we use it, again, is if we update WordPress, and we can get specific to say if we update or if we add a new post into a particular category, then we're going to send out a pre-formatted message to Facebook with a link back to that original post. And test it out. It's kind of hard to explain, but the whole premise is if one thing happens, then this should be the reaction to that. And it's all about automation. It's all about making your life easier. So check it out. It works between different social media sites as well. So if you update your Facebook timeline photo, then it will send off a little tweet to say, hey, I updated this. Come check it out. So there's a lot of things you can do. Figure out what works best for you. But it's my own little secret weapon that I use that I love. As for that, if you remember nothing from this presentation, remember these points. Read and review your past posts. Answer all the questions, elaborate on popular posts, and make sure you, in your comment section, you're actually responding to a lot of, to everything that is going on. If somebody asks you a question, make sure you don't just leave it hanging there. Make sure you answer them. If they say something nice, if they say something that you care about, make sure you like it so that people know that you've read it. it's social media. Make sure you're social. Never, ever, ever advertise on your personal profile. As much as I always tell people not to do this, I still see it being done, so that's why I've bolded it. Don't advertise on your personal profile. You can tell them again, hey, come here, see what I do, on my business page, but you cannot actually promote your products or yourself too much on your personal profile. Add more pictures and stop talking about you. Start talking about the industry. People don't always want to hear about, the hostess special or something that's going on about your product. They want to hear about what else you know about the industry. Start doing that 90% of the time. The other 10, you can start doing a hard push. And create schedules. Schedules keep you current. Schedules keep you on task, and the more you do the routine, the quicker it becomes. And have fun, but make sure you maintain the social media presence. If you want more ideas, we do again have a website, SMT4DS, which is just a very short way of saying social media training for direct selling. If you put /NS promo, we do offer a service at $60 a month, but we've reduced that dramatically to $7.95 a month. That will give you workbooks and more training and more productivity tools and resources. We are actually coming out with version 3, I believe it is, in the next month or so. So anybody who gets this now will automatically be transferred to that new site at the same price, but we have a ton of resources in there. I think we're up to about 13 or 14 different sites now that you can get royalty-free pictures and quotes and a variety of different things. So it really is useful. We're getting a lot of good feedback on it. We have workbooks, so on and so forth. But other than that, I'm going to leave it up to you guys to start asking me questions. So Rancha, if you want to, if there's any questions that you have seen in the feed.
For sure. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Great, perfect. Well, one question came up. It said, when talking about photos, you most often mention people. Should you include people along with products or not? What are your thoughts?
My personal opinion would be yes. It's always people relate to people. People like to see faces. Not only do we do social media, but we build a ton of direct selling websites. And I always tell our clients, make sure you include people, not just products on there, because people will relate to people. So yes, I would advise, if you can, if all possible, put a person image along with the product image.
Okay, great. Another question came in, says Google Images, RE copyright when copying graphics.
Yes.
So don't we have to be careful with Google Images, RE copyright when copying graphics?
Yes, absolutely. Google does have a filter where you can say, only allow, pictures for commercial use, and they'll filter out all the ones that are, royalty that you have to pay royalties on. They'll only show you the royalty-free ones. So yes, you do have to be cautious of that. Hence why we actually, as part of the resources, we've shown you sites that you don't have to worry about it. You just go to the site, you type in, I want pictures of coffee or coffee mugs, and it will show you all the royalty-free images of coffee mugs that you can just use to your heart's delight.
Okay, great. If there's any other questions, please type them in now. We've only got a few minutes remaining here, so if you have any questions, please type them in now, and I will ask Matthew. I know there was a lot of information here and a lot of valuable information. It was very, very exciting. Okay, sorry, we got another question. For Facebook ads, what would I promote? A product, the opportunity, neither? Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Sure. Well, there's two things that you can typically promote. When doing a news feed, I would advise probably promoting your business page first, rather than going right to your WordPress site, simply because, or to your NSP site or WordPress site, simply because it is cheaper to do that. But as part of it, your value is the fact that you're giving tips, training, tutorials, what have you, on your industry or specifically your product, but the industry. And so that's the value add. On all the ads that you promote on Facebook, you want to make sure that there's a value added to this. So you could say, hey, come to our site for some great tips and tutorials on this. To make it take that extra step, to make it work that extra mile, make sure. Now, I'm not being sexist here, but it does work because we've tested this thousands of times. Put a female picture on there. It typically does do better. Now, I would say, if anything, put a male picture, put the exact same ad, put a female picture, see which one does better. More often than not, we've seen that a picture of a woman will always do better. Don't know why, but it does. So yeah, just a little bit of a tidbit of information there.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Again, if there's any other questions, please type them in now. Like I said, we've only got a few minutes left here. One thing, okay, we have another question here. How many posts should be posted a day on our business Facebook page? What is too many?
It really depends on how many fans you have. If you have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of fans, you could probably post, 3, 4, 5 times a day. My answer will always be, it's not, again, about the quantity, it's about the quality. So if you're only posting once a week, but that post is incredibly valuable and it brings a ton of value to the actual person reading it, then once a day is your answer. If that's all if that's all you can do. If you can bring incredible value once a day, great. Post once a day. If you can do it twice a day, fine. It's really dependent upon what you say, how and how you say it. It's not so much how often you have to say it.
Okay,
So
great
yeah,
question.
I know that's probably not the exact answer, but unfortunately that is the real answer.
Well, I've heard through the, different people and different, social media experts that, anywhere from 3 to 5 posts a day is acceptable, but I don't know, just like, I think that's a lot, like, especially if you don't have a huge following.
Exactly, and that's why I don't like those blanket statements, because it really depends on who they're talking to. If they're talking to people who have 100,000 Facebook fans, then 4 to 5 may not be enough.
Yeah.
So that's why I always come back to value. If you're bringing value, then you can put 10 posts up.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Okay, again, any other questions, please type them in now. One thing I did want to mention is Matthew obviously has this up here for his, to use him as a resource. And the one thing that's not posted here, this is month to month, right, Matthew? There's no like long-term contract or anything like that, right?
No, it's $7.95 a month, so we're going to reduce it by $52 a month just because I've known Racha for so long. And so, of course, it is a month, but there is no contract. I don't believe in contracts. If this service does not bring you any value after the first month, we're not going to hold you back. Cancel it and go on about your business.
Okay, awesome. That's a great deal. So again, I mean, just even doing it for 1 month for $8 is fantastic, and I know the information you will get is going to be invaluable. I think I just got a text from one of our people tried getting on that link, the SMT4. Oh, Frank, you put in, you typed in ads, Frank Filippo. It's just, so it's SMT4DS. Looks like you put an A in there. So is the link working, Matthew?
It is working. Here, actually, there's 2 ways you can go about it. Let me just actually copy and paste and see if this actually works.
Okay.
So if we go to, let's go to smt4ds.com/NS, I think it was promo.
Yep.
I checked this right before we went on, so I know it's working. There's 2 ways you can type it. This is the short way, this is the long way. If you really want to type this out, socialmediatraining4directselling.com/NS promo. This will be the actual page that you land on.
Okay, perfect. So it is working. I'm just looking at your text that you sent me, Frank, and you have an additional A after the 4 there, so that's probably why it didn't work. So, but it is working. So Matthew, you can put back that screen up. That would be awesome. Okay, he said, yeah, it's working. Great. Thanks, Frank. Again, if there's any other questions, please let me know. Can you put up the last slide, Matthew? Sorry.
Absolutely. Yeah, sorry, I was just trying to
No worries. Again,
There you
just so
go.
they have it, and if you didn't get that email address, you can write it down. Again, it's pretty short and sweet there.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's no further questions, it is 1 o'clock, and I'll wrap this up. But I really want to thank Matthew. That was tremendous information. I got a lot out of it myself personally, and it'll definitely help me with our corporate website. And again, social media is always evolving and changing, and we need to keep up with the times. But I think, just focusing on, some key points, not key points, but key platforms like the Facebook and Twitter will definitely grow your business. And again, so many great points there, and now it's just putting it into action. So again, thank you so much for your time, Matthew. Truly appreciate it. A lot of people are typing in, thank you, this was great, this is awesome, thank you so much. So we're getting some great feedback. So again, thank you everyone for your time. And this will be, obviously this is being recorded and will be on the website, and I will let you know when it is up for everybody to re-listen to. So I'm going to end the recording now, so thank you all for being a part of today. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.